Anchor Moments. I'm Gina LeBenz, and I'm here today with a special guest. Wow, I don't know how many years we've known each other, Joanne, but with Joanne Zubal, we have been friends for a long time. And super excited. She also has been in Girl Scouts with me forever. I'm even wearing my lifetime Girl Scout pin today. Feeling very Girl Scouty with you. And just so excited to have her as a guest because she has had quite a few fabulous anchor moments in her life that have touched my heart when she told them to me earlier, and I can't wait to have her share them with you. And to start off, Joanne, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm an Arizona native, which is kind of hard to find nowadays because it's such a transplant state. But I am a 6th generation Arizonan and my kids are 7th. We're a pioneer family. So we have these fantastic certificates that say, you've been here forever.
Wow, I didn't know they give certificates for that?
They do, because they are, if you're able to track back at least when your family was in the state, when it was still a territory, then you can qualify. And my grandmother's birth certificate says Territory of Arizona.
I had no idea. Wow, so it's kind of like Daughters of the American Revolution, wow. And what's the title of that again?
Pioneer Families.
You're a pioneer family. Wow, pretty cool.
Yeah, my kids have grown up me telling people that, where now they're kind of accepting of it.
Okay.
So, besides being an Arizonan, I have 4 kids, keeping busy constantly. We, of course, are a Girl Scout family and a Boy Scout family, so that's always kept us busy.
Oh, yeah.
You know that one. So that's always been fun. Our last child is finally getting to the end, and she's working on her gold award right now.
Oh, that is so exciting.
Finally.
And what grade is she in?
She'll be a senior.
And that's your baby?
That's the baby.
Wow. Wow. That is awesome. Joanne, can you tell us about some of those special anchor moment stories? And I know you have some military mom stories that are just give me goosebumps.
Yes, absolutely. My son Devin went into the military. He wanted to be a policeman, and at that time they weren't hiring, and so he chose to go the military route to get his experience. He would have that when he came out into civilian life. While he was in the military, he was in the Army. He was deployed to Afghanistan, like many families. He was blown up while he was there. He was on basically a mission, and it did not go well. And a lot of his friends died that day, and we were fortunate that he wasn't one of them.
Now, you told me about that day that you knew something happened to him before anybody called you.
Yeah.
Before anybody. You didn't see it on the news, you didn't see it on Facebook, but you knew when something happened to him that day. Can you tell me about that?
I always knew, I always had feelings, I always had that mom's intuition when something happened. When he was out on missions, when he would come home and I'd say, you know, I have this feeling, I knew you were in trouble, I could feel it in my bones. And it was always right. I knew, I just could feel it. And that particular day, I was at work and I happened to have left the building for lunch, left my phone, and thought, well, I'll just get it when I come back. And when I came back, my phone had lots of messages from my daughter. And when I called her, I said, it's Devin. And she goes, yep. I said, well, let's just find out first. Is he alive or is he dead? Because that determines how this conversation goes.
Yeah.
And he had already been medevaced. He was already and ready to go into surgery. And it truly was a miracle that he walks this earth today. We were just one of many.
One of many, yeah.
And you know, you feel bad because he was okay, but a lot of other people did think of that day.
No. When you could feel in your bones on all those other missions, and you knew, and he was able to verify, not be able to say what the mission was, but
Right.
verify that it was a
Knew.
close one or whatever. Did you pray when you would feel those feelings in your bones?
I said, you know, that boy, from the minute he left, I feel like that's all I did was pray to keep him safe, to keep everybody safe. Because we are just one family. We are this one little piece of sand on a massive ocean beach. And our story for us, of course, is huge, is big for us, but we're just one of thousands and thousands and thousands of families that are experiencing it today still.
Yeah.
You know, and you try to keep that in mind, that while it's really important to us, that for everybody else, there are many families going through this.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew, so from day one, all I did was pray every single night, please just watch over them. Please keep them safe, keep them all safe.
Yeah.
And I know that that's not a unique prayer,
Mm-hmm.
but one that was unique and really important for me and my family.
And you could feel and just knew.
I knew. I've always known, and I've always had that intuition. The kids, we kid about it because there are so many times that I know something's going on and I pick the phone up and the phone is starting to ring, or it rings when I pick it up and it's the kid on the other end. Call.
That you were going to call out of the four.
Yes.
Yes.
And it happens with friends. I mean, it's just the way it is. And I think that we all have that. It's just learning to listen and fine tune it and know that, you know, we have this the spirit with us, and you just have to pay attention.
Yeah. Lynn Sukuni was here, was my guest before you came today, and she calls those whispers in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and where you can hear,
Mm-hmm.
you're really hearing God's voice.
Mm-hmm.
If we're in that knowing.
Yes, I agree. I think that if you know and you can be accepting of this, it makes it a whole lot easier because it's always with us. It's just a matter of really paying attention.
Now you have some more stories about Devin.
Yes, the boy. When his accident hit, at that time, his two younger sisters were probably 6 and 10, somewhere in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize this particular story until much later, what the background in that it had happened, because we were all concerned. Every one of us, we were all going through our own things of trying to deal with it. But the baby that was 10, that's now a senior in high school,
Okay.
she called one of her friends that was in our Girl Scout troop.
Okay.
And she and Heather were talking on the phone, and come to find out that she's speaking to Heather and saying, my brother, I don't even know if I'm going to see him again. I don't know what's going to happen to him. Everyone knew he had been,
And this is after he was blown up.
yes, that he had been medevaced out, he was having surgery, and all of this was happening all at the same time.
Okay.
So as these little kids that are so young, but yet have to have such a big adult conversation about this, and that her friend is trying to be comforting to her, trying to talk to her, and as these little girls, can you only imagine how sweet
Yeah.
and that comforting, and that they just had, you know, that they were doing this. In the meantime, her mother, the little girl's mother, Heather, her mother Sarah was in the hallway and heard the conversation the girls were having on the phone. And Sarah, her mom, she is a quilter,
Oh, okay.
and a very renowned quilter. Her name is Sarah Vedeler.
Okay.
And she, at that moment, thought, oh, what can we do? What's going to happen? She was at a quilt show,
Okay.
and one of the manufacturers approached her, a fabric manufacturer, and said, would you be interested in designing and making a quilt for Operation Homefront? It's kind of like Quilts of Valor. There's a lot of organizations that make quilts and they give them to servicemen.
Okay.
When I saw Devin later, he had a quilt of
Oh, really?
that he was given when he was in the hospital. The point of this is that many, many people donate their time and energy, and they make quilts, and they're donated to hospitals and to the servicemen whenever they're in the hospital, so that they have a piece of home.
Oh.
And Devin had one, and I didn't realize it.
Oh.
So Sarah said, I agree, I would do that. Yes, I would do that. So she designed a quilt called Star of Devin.
Oh.
And every person who bought it, a portion of the proceeds went to Operation Homefront so that other people could benefit from this. She had those patterns, and when she would go to a show somewhere, she would have a lecture.
Mm-hmm.
She did a lecture one day, and she held it up and was talking about, this is my daughter's friend, and here's the story. And she held up the pattern, and a friend of mine was in the audience and said,
Okay.
Devin, that has to be the same Devin. And they talked about it after to find out that yes, it was.
Wow. Can you show us that?
Sure.
So you've got it here, and you have a camera that you can, hopefully we can,
Hopefully you can see that.
Can you see that?
It's a fantastic pattern. And
It's beautiful.
we had a friend who made one for our family that I wound up with. And one of my daughter's mother-in-law got a pattern. She had one made for them that she hired somebody to make. So there's 3 of these quilts. This exact quilt that's pictured, I went to Houston to Quilt Market because I found out after the fact that this quilt and many quilts that are all a part of Operation Homefront traveled all over the country. It came to Arizona and I missed it. I had no idea. And so I talked to Sarah, and she arranged with the manufacturer who had the quilt to bring it to Quilt Market. So when I went to Quilt Market, I knew that I was going to get this quilt and it was going to come home.
Oh, so you got the quilt that traveled around the country.
Devin has it. Yeah.
Wow.
And it was wonderful because I got to go there. I got to have Sarah present it to me, and she said, "This quilt I made for your son."
Oh.
And it's going home.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yep. And I got to give it to him, and I said, "This has gone around. This has been around the country, and I hope you enjoy it and you understand that it not only spreads the word of his accident, but it also reminds our country and of all these families and what everyone goes through as a military family."
Oh, yeah.
And it's fantastic. And
there needs to be special stars for all the military moms and dads, because the amount of worry, you're not my only friend who's had a child in Afghanistan, and they're home, they're worried, and they're prayer warriors to make sure, with by the grace of God, that they may come home.
When he had his accident, friends at work had yellow ribbons. The day I walked in afterwards, there were yellow ribbons everywhere. And people that came out of the woodwork, friends that went to their churches and started prayer chains. And I mean, it was incredible, the amount of support. And I told him, I said, you have to understand that there were so many people that had prayers for this boy. I don't know how it could have ended any better than what it did, And his experience, our experience as a family, everybody had to go through this, because I have this saying that I tell the kids all the time about ripples in the pond. And mainly it's to remind them that when something happens, you may not understand it at that exact moment.
Right. You
have to wait for the ripple in the pond. It's like a rock hitting, and it has to get big enough so that you can see the whole picture. And if you know that and you really believe it with everything, it really makes things that happen that may not be what you want, what you
Right.
expect, it makes you stop and just say, well, it's not over yet. Let's wait and see, whenever the ripple gets big enough, how it really is meant to play out.
And there are things to be grateful for.
Oh,
Even
all
in
the way.
the worst tragedies, there's still some things that you can be grateful for. And
Oh,
some of it
yes.
is the people that help out. You know, to be grateful for this
Yes.
lovely lady who created
Yes.
Sarah, for creating the Star of Devin, and what it meant for her, and the joy that it had to give her heart,
Yes.
knowing that she was creating something special.
Yes.
You know.
Absolutely. And you know, it's amazing. And to take it just another little step, when Devin, right before his accident, he had met a girl online while he was stationed in Afghanistan. Couldn't explain where he was or what was going on. And he met Danny. And they chit-chatted back and forth. He had his accident and everything kind of went dark because he was in the hospital.
Well, yeah.
And after that happened, we were on the news here in town talking about local boy surviving. He sent her the link and said, "This is me." So she saw all of us, the story, she got to see him, and she knew now what was going on.
And why he disappeared
And
for
why
so
he
long.
disappeared.
So it wasn't that he didn't like her anymore and he was
Exactly.
just trying to ghost her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the accident was in April. He landed in the U.S. on July 3rd. Best July 4th we ever had.
Oh my
To know that
goodness.
he was on U.S. soil.
Wow.
They met.
And when he landed, did they have people at the airport with big thing? I mean, seriously, 4th of July. I mean, on the 3rd, right there on the cusp of the 4th of July.
When they land in Georgia where they were stationed.
Okay.
And so he landed, when he came to Arizona and landed, he said, "Mom, no big deal. I'm here. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Don't do anything." We had matching shirts, a big banner, and a news crew there.
Yeah.
No big deal.
No big deal.
No. It was just wonderful to have him in front of you and to be able to see him and just physically hold that boy.
And so from April, when you knew that he was blown up and that he was in the hospital, you didn't get to see him until July. Oh, that would be just terrible.
I got to talk to him. I mean, there was a time in there where, you know, I think that it was probably a good thing because I was such a wreck for a long time with that.
Yeah.
He came home, he met Danny face to face, and they were like this total yin and yang. They're the perfect little couple. They got married that year on Halloween.
Aww.
And it wasn't until they got married and we were sitting across the table from her parents that we found out I went to grade school with her dad and my husband went to grade school with her mother.
And it's 2 different grade schools.
Oh, totally.
So it's not even
totally.
the same grade school
Not
or
even
anything.
close, not even close. But you meet somebody online when you're halfway across the world, and it turns out we have this other connection. And I always said, we were meant to have this girl, this wonderful, wonderful girl in our family. And they have one little girl and another one on the way.
Wow.
And I said, that is definitely an anchor moment.
Oh yeah, God put them together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because there's no other way that they can get together. I mean, that's
No.
that's so hard. I
No.
mean, amazing.
It is.
Absolutely amazing.
It is. And they kind of chuckle about it, you know, oh, we met online. And I said, this just was meant to be. It was so perfect. It couldn't be anything else because I can't imagine.
No, I can't either.
So we've been really, really fortunate. People laugh and look at me like, how can you say that? And it's like, if he had not had this accident, there'd be no Danny, there'd be no marriage, there'd be no grandbabies. I mean, he has...
Those are some amazing ripples. I mean, talk about your ripples in the pond.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
And he is a policeman.
Okay, and that's what he wanted to do. And
And
that's
that's
why
what-
he went in the military. He couldn't get a job as a policeman.
Yes.
And so he did the military thing and got that wonderful experience of how to, you know, be an incredible police officer, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. So his dream of doing what he wanted, and he's really living his dream. We're fortunate because we get to live our dream, because he walks the earth every day, and
Yeah.
that's my biggest dream.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I still have all my kids in front of me, and that's huge.
That's huge. That's a huge blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just don't know. We do not know how many days that we have.
No.
We just don't. Every day is a gift.
Yes, absolutely.
And you just have to figure out what to do with that gift and to make your days count, so you can make those ripples.
Yes.
You know?
I'm all about making memories. Everything we do is always a making memory and Kodak moment. And they forever laugh and joke at me all the time. And I said, you don't understand. We're not going to be here forever.
Nope.
You know, I as the parent will not be here forever. And I want them to have these memories.
And I mean, she really is the memory queen. So she used to scrapbook like nobody else. Her house is like a scrapbook store. She has a special room and everything's organized where you can find things. But it's an unusual kind of organized, but it's organized where you know where all your stuff, all your stuff is. And she has had people come to her house, a whole bunch, and we would scrapbook at her house and just have a blast sharing memories. And then she moved from that to quilting. And so people come to your house and quilt.
We do a sewing group at my house. People wanted to learn how to sew. It's kind of a lost art because it's just not the in thing at this stage of the game. So there were enough people that I just ran across that said, I'd like to learn to sew. I've always wanted to learn. And I said, come to the house. On this day, we're gonna learn. And now we range anything from maybe 6 to 8 people to 12 to 15 people that can be at the house all at one time with machines.
Oh yeah, and she's got a lot of material. So I used to think she had a lot of paper, and thank goodness she has a very, very, very big house. And she mentioned to me, you know, we might move, and I'm like, you can't move. There's no way you can move. How are you gonna get all that stuff out and to get it all organized? Because she is like a Joanne's fabric, you know, and Antarctica, because she's got it all. She has got it all.
Yes, we do joke about that too.
Yeah.
You know, my kids, when they grew up, they just thought every mom must do this, right?
Oh no. No, not even me. And I have a lot of stuff too, but oh my goodness.
It's a very massive she shed.
It is. Yeah, her whole house is like a she shed. But no, but there is a part, because your husband has a room that's like big and giant, and he has a bunch of things that he sells.
Yes.
Different little parts and pieces, and when I stepped into that, it was like, wow, it's like another house in the house, but it's the guy stuff, and it's all very, very, very manly. It's as manly as the rest of the house is a she shed.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. He sells hard to find car parts, so there are a lot of parts around.
A lot.
We have a great arrangement. His side of the house, my side of the house. Works great.
Yes, it does. Well, Joanne, we only have 4 minutes left. And what I'd like is for you to think of any special cause or person on your heart that you would like for us to pray for today. Because I always like to end my show with prayer.
You know, I think that our military families, I think that's huge.
That is very, very huge.
Yep. And I think that people don't realize to what degree a military family, what they go through. That not only are they worried about their own loved one and their child, but there's something they can do. They just have to be here and be strong and know that whatever's going to happen is how it's meant to be, and to be okay with that.
And that's hard because, you know, just like some of Devin's friends, they didn't make it home. You don't know, because we don't know how many days we're going to be gifted in our life.
Yep. I think it's easy for people to forget that these things are still going on. You know, it's easier for my family to not have that in our forefront as much anymore, since he's not in the military.
Right.
And it's just too easy for people to forget.
Okay. Hold your hand. I'm going to let you start off leading us with that, and then I'll add a couple of things.
All right.
All right.
Dear Heavenly Father, we're so grateful to have this day, to be able to talk about things that families go through, what we've gone through, what so many people in our country go through every day with their children, their loved ones. I'm so grateful to have this time to be able to share our memories and to be so grateful for everything that we have.
Thank you, God, so much for all those military families and for anybody who's fighting for justice in this world, however that is. And please bless our friends in our audience right now, any of them that are military families, as well as anyone who has any special needs in their heart for either forgiveness or for health, or if they have any worries about a family member. Please listen to their hearts right now too, and help them. And thank you, God, for the days you have given us on this earth to make difference and make those ripples. Amen.
Thank you so much
Oh,
for
it's
letting me come and tell you these stories.
Oh, it's just been such a pleasure, such an incredible pleasure. You've been such a good friend for so long. We've done so many Girl Scout things together, and I'm just so happy to have you here on my show.
Well, I'm grateful I got to be here, and you are such a wonderful person. I love and adore you.
I love and adore you too, Joanne. Everybody, have a great day. God bless you, and hang on to those anchor moments.
The preceding program was brought to you by the Holy Spirit Broadcasting Network, HSBN Television.